and your expert's opinion as well as your notes or impressions can go in there. Environmental study depends on the property under consideration, whether it's required or not. That would also be true for soils tests. Pest inspection report is almost always routinely done. These are helpful to have done not only to give you a heads up on what may be needed, but it will also provide a bargaining chip during the purchase of the property to lower the purchase price if you find work that needs to be done, and that would lower the value of the property, from where it might have been under a final agreement, and so it may form part of your counteroffer activities. Structural inspection may be part of your property inspection, or maybe another inspection. It all depends. Same thing for drainage. During the course of the inspections, there'll be an appraisal. You could actually get your own appraisal in advance if you wanted to try to get an idea what should be a fair purchase price. Routinely, the banks always get an appraisal done to decide if what you want to buy the property for meets their investment criteria. So that's an important document that will later have to be obtained. The survey also, most banks will require a survey, and you may also want a survey. And what happens there is a professional surveyor will actually go out to the property and determine the boundaries. That can be very important because it's possible that your property that you're looking into might encroach on someone else's land, or you might be paying for something that really isn't owned by the owner. So this actually sets the boundaries for the property legally and officially. Due diligence is an extremely important category, and we're going to be talking about that at length in later installments. But this is where most of the hard work goes in terms of deciding whether this property is the best place to look for properties, whether this area rather is the best place to look for properties, then performing market analysis, getting an idea who lives there, what's their income like, what's the population doing, whether this is in a high crime area or not. Trend analysis I like to refer to as emerging market analysis, which is something near and dear to my heart. All has to do with whether you're getting into an area that's coming up or you're getting into an area that's already on the way down. Where is it on the circle of a life cycle of, let's say, a real estate community? And the other analysis is the financial analysis. So part of due diligence will be while you're examining this property, you're going to be requesting records from the seller, which will be not only his business records but also utility records and other kinds of contracts that may affect your ownership and leases, and all the financial aspects of the property will be collected and then analyzed to see if it meets your investment goals. So I would suggest you create these categories and subcategories, both the red, the blue, and the yellow, because these types of analysis need to be performed to make sure you get the best deal. Photos obviously are what they are. You're going to have photos of the property, and I would suggest taking photos of everything possible, so you have a nice thing to show the banks as well as for your own portfolio. You're going to need a category for insurance on due diligence. You want to see what type of insurance the owner had, as well as what it's going to cost you to insure the property. And you have to be mindful that if you're looking across the United States in areas that you're not familiar, there could be other issues that are affected by climate or geological issues or weather, um, crime, whether there were prior uses of the property involving underground storage tanks or chemicals. So, the insurance is an important item to explore, both from the past, from the landlord's cost basis, as well as what it's going to cost you, and that would be further information going into the financial analysis. Same thing for utilities. You want to get an idea, what the utilities are for the property, so that you can again project the property how it will do financially. And you want to know, whether these costs are going to go up, and who pays for them, obviously. So it's important to flesh out in due diligence all the different utilities and get copies of all the prior 3 years bills, if possible, by getting a letter of authorization from the seller and going directly to the utility company to get that information. Taxes, property taxes, you want to look at those. You want to talk to the tax department and find out whether the taxes are going to change. You're also going to want to know how to challenge those taxes, which could make a result, a beneficial result on your net operating income. So those activities will come in later when we talk about team members and people who you may want to enlist to help you. Other documents, you're going to want all the leases for the existing tenants. You're going to want any documents concerning the existing management of the property, as well as their payroll, whether there's an existing written pet policy, the 3 years owner operating statements. Security deposits are also important. You don't want to acquire the property and then realize the owner ran off with the security deposits, and then, if you're dealing with a sizable unit, you could be on the hook for quite a lot of money. So you want to make sure that you accurately account for security deposits and make sure they're transferred to you, or you're given credit for it against the purchase price when you acquire the property. You want to focus on recurring maintenance problems. You want to make sure whether or not the property was kept up, or the owner was poor on maintenance, and you're going to inherit a bunch of problems. Because if so, you want to negotiate that purchase price to account for that work that you need to do that wasn't performed by the prior owner. We talked a little bit about claims. You want to know if there's any claims history. That's obviously going to affect the cost of insurance on the property, so it needs to be inquired into. Any existing contracts, such as for